So Vitali, I want to thank you very much for spending the time with all of us here at Wharton, and particularly spending the time here with Knowledge at Wharton. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to come here.
So you say that people are materially better off than they've ever been in the history of Russia.
Yes.
Does that translate into a vibrant market for material goods? Is there an appetite to buy things in Russia?
No, yes, of course. There's a flood of goods, and if you go to Moscow, I think that you can buy everything that exists in the world. Well, there's a lot of all the things possible. And many people, not only oligarchs, but enjoy a very high standard of living. For example, careers of young people are very successful. So typical situation is that youngsters are supporting their parents because youngsters earn much more than their parents. And many of them have careers that just skyrocketed.
And yet, at the same time, they're not happy about the state of Russia, the place that Russia is right now?
Well, just imagine you have great meal but don't have any drink. You will find out that something's wrong, yes? So that's a kind of situation that we have now in Russia. We have a lot of meal but no drink. No drink of respect, self-respect, mutual respect, protected rights, well-established society, and like that. So when you were hungry, probably you thought about different issues, but still, as you are not hungry, in quotes, so if you are materially well off, then it's more and more intolerable. The richer you are, the more intolerable the situation is becoming.
You mentioned that part of the depression, part of the attitude has to do with property rights or expectations regarding property.
Well, property rights and rights of, the person to be protected himself too. So nothing will happen to him. And
do people still feel as insecure as they felt during the times immediately after perestroika?
Well, a type of insecurity changed. At that time, insecurity was because different people were in this mess of quick economic and the social transformation. Now it's insecurity because institutions do not work properly. So if you are attacked by somebody, then if this person is stronger, the chances of getting justice are less. So a kind of, I would say that not so much life itself is somehow dangerous. That's not that. You can live happily, but the feeling of that potentially you may be deprived of some rights, some of your rights. It's like feelings that potentially you can be ill. But at that time you're healthy, but at the same time you understand that you have a chance of getting a disease like that. So I would like to stress that ordinary life still is fine. So there is nothing dangerous neither for natives nor for people who came to Russia.
Well, when you speak of general ideology, for a very interesting schism in the United States is between people who experienced the Cold War and people who didn't, and people who have stereotypes about Russian ideology and people who don't. Demographically, the U.S. is almost split in half between those who do and don't. How do people in Russia perceive relationships with the United States?
If you look at very old generation, I was surprised when I was in some deep rural areas and when asked, what do you think about the United States in the Soviet times?
In the Soviet times?
Yeah, they said, we ate American meal during the World War II.
So the aid that the United States provided to the Soviet Union,
yes.
They were eating canned meat from the U.S.
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, and that was, to them, it was extremely important because it let them survive. It's not additional meal, but it's a kind of meal that was, at that time, was in scarcity. It has to be understood that World War II was extremely a time of extreme hardships, much greater than anything else. Well, for example, in generation of my father, only 5% of male people survived.
Wow, 5%.
Yes.
That's a number that in the United States and probably in many other countries of the world is almost hard to, it's almost hard to make sense of that number, that 5% survived.
Yes, yes. So people died, there was a hunger, and at the same time we fought and we crushed the strongest army in the world at that time. So that was a difficult time, and people remember it with American meal. For a younger generation, of course, United States is some sort of example because, well, everybody knows that mother of modern democracy is America. So, and also the whole world is following patterns that emerged in the United States. So it plays this kind of role. But also there are people who are not satisfied with how things are going in Russia, elsewhere. So there's a sort of, well, I would say, usual anti-Americanism of which exists everywhere, in Italy.
In the United States as well.
Well, maybe in the United States, but I found it in many different places because, well, I think that United States brings new patterns, and the whole world has to adapt to these patterns, and it's sometimes it's a very it's a hard process actually. At the same time, I would say that despite stereotypes, U.S. and Russia can be together much closer than they are now. For example, the feeling of spaces. Geographically, we are huge countries,
right.
And we think, I think, similarly about this kind of natural spaces. Maybe it should be remembered that Russia was the first country to recognize United States.
We appreciate that.
And in all major conflicts, we were on the same side.
That's a really interesting thing, because we tend to think only of the Cold War.
Yeah.
But you bring out a very interesting point. In all actual conflicts, we've been allies.
Yes, and so it looks like when there is nothing to do, we invent problems. As soon as there is a real issue, we are together.
Now, you mentioned how difficult transition is.
Yeah.
And you are uniquely situated to talk about those difficulties as a member of the Snake Hill group. Can you tell us how the Snake Hill group formed and why?
Yeah, and by the way, Snake Hill group was ready to think about very radical changes in approaches. For example, when some members of the Snake Hill group went to Chile, Chilean reformers were surprised to know, well, surprised, the first question they got from Russians when they talked about Chilean system of private pension reform, Chilean, the first question was, why do you need the system at all, pension system at all? So we were ready to we're searching for any decisions, including radical decisions. So and in '91, when the Soviet Union collapsed and actually economy collapsed as well, there seemed to be only one group of people who were able to give consistent recipes what should be done. And actually, the whole Russian economic reforms were 2 decrees. Well, they were most important for Russian economic reforms. Decree that liberalized prices. Prices were set free, and people could trade in the streets. Second decree. So it opened the way for people to participate in market economy. So since the 1st of January '92, market economy in Russia started. I think that all other things, including privatization, were secondary to this.